Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know, if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down.
Whenever you're down, out in the cold, faithless and dark, your story's untold. Come take my hand and walk there with me. I know a place where we can be free. There is a light shining for you, guiding your way, helping you through. And shadows and gloom are all that you see. We'll find a place where we can be free. From the mountaintop down to the deepest valley, hear a voice calling you. It's the rising sun, shining in the darkest alley. Can't you see you will be free? I have been far, I had them wide, searching for peace, somewhere to hide. Now I am free, open and pure, fearless and babe, I am secure. There is no dark that can't be lit. We'll find a way if we just commit. We are one. There is no them and us. Together we're strong. Together we're free. From the mountaintop down to the deepest valley, hear a voice calling you. It's the rising sun, shining in the darkest
is happening, everybody out there in the internet world? What a pleasure it is to be with you. I am Iki Taimi, and today we're starting off tea time again. We're going to have a blast today, as we always do. So, if you're coming along with us, welcome on. I see you guys on here. Welcome, welcome. And to those of you who are going to be catching this a little bit later, welcome to you too as well. You're going to really enjoy our topic today. We're going to be hanging out with Isabel Ramirez, and we're going to be talking about all things mental health. Isabel is a community mental health promoter. She was trained by the LA County Department of Mental Health. She's a presenter, she's a motivator, she's a mom, and a champion for the voice of the disenfranchised. In today's episode, we're going to talk about stigmas, and she's going to take some time today to really kind of share her story. And we're going to talk about ways we can break free from that. So I hope you're really ready to go along, because it's going to be worth our time together. All right, my friends? That's today. But before we talk about today and share time with Isabel, I also want to make this mention. May 16th to 23. May 16th to 23. May 16th to 23. We're going to do a week of prayer, and it's going to be from the 16th to the 23rd in May. Got it? Good. Our speaker is going to be Pastor Dr. Myron Edmonds. He's going to be bringing the word. We're going to have the LA County Mental Health Department take the workshops. So we're really going to dive into mental health. You're not going to want to miss it. The theme is thrive. We're going to thrive together. We're collaborating right now with about 24 churches. We're going to have probably 30 by the time we get going. So it's going to be bonkers. It's going to be worth your time. And we're going to be streaming it on all 24 platforms from these churches. And we're going to make an awesome week of it. So I want you to come along with us. Please consider joining us for that week. If you have a church and you want to jump in with us, consider bringing your church along, and let's make this little thing happen, because it's going to be worth our time, and it's a powerful issue on mental health. Speaking of mental health, we're going to be talking with Isabel Ramirez today. So we'll see you there. Isabel!
Hi,
Welcome.
hi everybody.
Yay! Sister Ramirez, it is good to have you on with us today, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us.
It's an honor for me to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So let's start here, like I start every week with all of our friends that come on here. Isabel, can you tell us, what are you drinking today?
Oh, I'm drinking a cup of tea. It's made with chamomile, mint, and lemongrass.
Oh,
and it smells delicious.
Yeah, that does smell good. Good job. Good job. Now, Isabel, let me ask you, is that homemade, special made, or is it store-bought? You can be honest.
Well, I combined two bags. One bag was combined with mint and chamomile, and the other bag is with lemongrass.
I will count that as homemade. I'm gonna because it's a specialty mix you made up yourself. We're gonna give you points. Good job. Good job. So Isabel, we wanted to bring you on because you are a promoter for the Department of Mental Health, and you present, you do workshops, presentations on mental health and the stigma of that. Just before we really dive into that issue, by the way, everybody, if you're watching along, welcome on to Tuesday Tea Time. If you have a question for Isabel, feel free to ask it. Drop it into our comments. Let us know where you're coming from. Let us know what's happening in your life, and I will make sure that I put that up for the world to see, all right? And we'll ask Isabel as well. Isabel, before we get diving into it, can you just share a little bit about you and your story so that we can kind of get to know you better?
Well, it's hard to talk about ourselves, right?
Yeah, it is true.
I am a simple person who happened to be involved with the Spanish-speaking community in Los Angeles and San Gabriel Valley area. Yeah. I'm involved because I saw the need to to close the gap of information about opportunities and resources available for the Spanish speakers. And in general, I saw how the language barrier prevents parents from learning about the opportunities for their children. And that led me to become a promotora, a mental health promoter.
All
And
right.
I'm also a, yes, and
Prometora.
promotora. Yes, I am promotora. So I am a mother, and even though my son is already grown,
Mhm.
um, it was hard for me to raise him. And I saw in firsthand how the difficulties to raising a child in a vulnerable community. Um, Being an immigrant and
Mhm.
raising my son by myself was kind of hard. So that's why I am involved trying to get the information that the so many times the mothers and parents don't know all the resources and opportunities there for the children.
For our Spanish speakers who may jump on here sooner or later, could you just share a little bit of that in Spanish for us? Prometora, por favor.
Bueno, muchas gracias por la oportunidad de estar aquí. Mi nombre es Isabel Ramírez y yo soy promotora de salud mental. Y muchos de ustedes ya me conocerán, me conocen, saben que siempre estoy abogando por la información en español para que llegue los recursos y la información a la población de habla hispana.
Isabel, thank you. I don't know that you know this. You probably don't, but I also grew up in a home where English was a second language. My father spoke primarily English very beautifully, and my mom spoke Tongan. We're from the South Pacific. So when we came over, we understood the same kind of struggle, right? Because you don't know who to ask for, you don't know the right resources and or systems that you could use. And it's a real challenge if you don't have people like you come alongside us and help us get the right kind of information we needed. Now, when did you move over here to the US?
I came to the United States 1996, so long time ago. Yes, long time ago. Yes,
I know this is going to
1990.
sound weird, but 1996 sounded like it was yesterday for me. Time goes by
Mm,
so fast.
really fast.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, and I came and if my English is kind of weird right now, you can imagine at that time. And I was really busy working two jobs in in able to meet the needs for
Mhm.
the rent payments for the bills. So I didn't real time for learning English. So I
Ah.
was very busy. So it was hard for me. But I enroll in weekends, and there there is a um, it was a program in Pasadena City College
Mhm.
that I enrolled, and I tried to learn English because I saw that is very important. If I'm living in LA, I
Yeah.
know that many people speak Spanish, but it's very important to speak English as well.
Yes. Did you speak any English when you came over? When you first
Not
came?
really, just the basics like um, hello, my name is, or
Yeah. This
ceiling, floor, ceiling and floor, some words.
It's the same
The
thing we
real
know about
conversation,
Spanish, right? ¿Dónde está el baño? Things like
yeah,
that.
like that, basic,
Basic,
just basic.
basic.
Yes,
Wow.
and it's sometimes frustrating when you have a really you want to be in the conversation because you know the topic, but you are not able to speak it, and
Yes. Oh, it's so
you
frustrating.
get shorted in ideas. Yes. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And look at you now. Look at how far you've come. Look at the wonderful things you've done. And the California, the United States, and the world is better because you are in it doing the wonderful things you are doing. Thank you for being that way.
Thank you for your sweet.
You started Pasadena en Español. Is
Yes,
that
it's an
correct?
outlet in Spanish.
Mm.
It's basically it's information in Spanish about resources, events, workshops, um, grants, and scholarship for children.
And
Yeah.
can any family get connected to this? Any family that Spanish speaking family that needs it, can they just connect to it? How do they do that?
Yes, I have the outlet online. It's
Hmm.
Pasadena en Español. You just can go just and type Pasadena en Español.com and just go inside the website, and also the social media. The social media, I have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Instagram, I don't do much about information, but but basically it's Facebook and Twitter.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Thank you for all the great work you're doing. And if you're watching along and you need to have, you happen to need this, and you're in Pasadena, make sure you go to pasadenaenespanol.com, I think, or just Google it, and you'll probably be able to find it, and get connected because it's a great resource. So to move on into mental health here, Isabel, let me ask you. Have you had any actual experiences with wrestling with mental health in your journey, or people that you know that were you close with that experienced it?
Well, when I was a teenager, I was kind of struggling with depression, and I didn't know. I
Mm,
didn't know that until now. Now that I know more about it, and I felt that I was the only person facing this trouble, and I was afraid to say it. I was afraid to say how I was feeling because I didn't know how. I didn't know to be target, and I didn't want to be somewhere finger point with labels.
mm,
I had the pressure to be what society expected to be a young lady, like to be a good woman,
mm-hmm,
maybe a good student, a good
mm-hmm,
daughter, um, maybe be polite and quiet, at
mm,
my age. So, and I had to fulfill those requirements for that time. So I didn't have the time to recognize that I was feeling that way, or was feeling low, depressed. So I keep my feelings inside, and I didn't say anything.
mm,
And times went through, and until now that I'm uh, learning more about the issues about depression, I I can recognize it now. And that's why it's so important for me to bring this information about symptoms and red flags for people to reach for professional help when it's needed, and to understand people who are facing the symptoms.
yes, yes, very true. And I suspect that this is still very true for people today. There are many who feel like they have to kind of keep a certain level of normalcy with the world around them, and so they're kind of suffering inside. But today we've gotten much better at it because we want to be aware, and we're trying to bring awareness to it, just like we're many people are doing, just like we're doing today, right?
That's right, and it's a good thing. And knowing more about these issues is a key to
Yeah,
try to
absolutely.
fight.
Now, how did you
Mhm.
get connected with the LA County Department of Mental Health?
Oh, because I was involved with the community,
Hmm.
and somebody told me that it was this opportunity, and I saw the opportunity, and I said, this is what I want. I want to bring awareness, and I want to bring information for the families to get better and be and bring more opportunities for children. And also in my community, there's a lot of stigma about
Hmm.
mental health, and there's a lot of issues becoming from social issues because mental health, like family violence,
Hmm.
um, suicide, also like yeah,
Very
yes,
much.
grief and loss, many
Wow.
issues around my community, and they don't see us as mental health because it's a stigma. It's
Right.
it's bad if I talk about it.
Right, right, right. Yeah, that's so true. So let's get on into talking about stigma itself. By the way, if you're watching with us, welcome on. I'm with Isabel Ramirez, and we're talking about mental health and the stigmas that come along with it and how we're going to try to break it. Thank you, Isabel, for sharing with us today. If you're just catching this and you happen to have comments or questions, feel free to drop it in. We'll get around to it when we do. Otherwise, we're just going to keep holding this conversation. Isabel, why is there such a stigma around mental health? Why do you suppose this is, why is there stigma?
This is because society in general has stereotypes about mental health. There is a belief that people with mental health conditions are violent, are dangerous, when in fact they are more at risk of harming themselves if they don't receive the necessary health care. And we also seen so many movies about madmen, psychiatrists who
Right.
do terrible things that increase stereotypes in our collective minds, and also the myths and cultural legends, such as is possessed by the devil, or because they want to attract attention, or because they are weak. Yeah,
Ooh,
so
yes.
many uh, myths and that are around in our culture.
Mm, mm, mm. This is very true. It's something that I'm working with other churches around here because we want to bring some light to it. I'm obviously not well versed in this area, but I want to help bring awareness to it so that we can break some of these ugly stereotypes and stigmas. So why is the stigma itself such a problem?
Uh, Stigma affects the quality of life and human rights with the person that is facing mental disorders. Because the discrimination prevents the individuals to reach out for professional help, and can make the condition worsen, and make it harder to recover if the patients do not have
Wow,
a
wow.
diagnosis on time.
Can you share that in Spanish as well, Isabel?
Sí, el estigma es un problema que nos afecta como humanos porque quita los derechos de los humanos, de las personas que están sufriendo algún desorden de salud mental, y hace que prevenga, que no vayan a acudir a un profesionista por ayuda, y puede ser que su recuperación sea más lenta y más, sí, más lenta.
Wow, thank you. What are common issues that surround this stigmatization of mental health?
Um, for example, is difficulties in finding a job.
Oh, wow.
It's harder to be hired when, even though discrimination is not allowed in the jobs, but the employer could find a variable excuse for no hire somebody that is facing mental health, and also difficulties in finding housing,
Oh, yeah.
because
Interesting.
yeah, because neighbors don't want to live close to crazy people,
Mm.
or lack of support from family or friends. They just don't understand to have a because they don't have the information. They don't understand the families that are facing these troubles, and of course the self-esteem of the people that is facing mental conditions
Mm.
is going to be affected.
Right.
Mhm.
So I want to ask a little bit of a pointed question because I deal with many believers. That's kind of our wheelhouse and what we're working with. How is it especially hurtful in the church or in a faith community? How can the stigmatization of mental health be negative uniquely in the church?
Mhm. Well, good mental health provides the capacity to live a balanced life, physically, mental, and spiritual. If you don't have the three spheres in balance, we are not going to enjoy life more
Mm,
fully.
very true.
So we are not going to manage difficult situations, and sometimes uh, we are not going to have maintaining good connections with family and friends and community, and of course with God. And actually, studies has been done about the role in spirituality and how religions helps people to cope with the stress. And if you and also if we keep inside our troubles and don't face it, and in one point it's gonna explode,
Right.
right?
That's right. That's right.
So and we are not going to have a good relationship with another persons, and no, in the congregation sometimes we're going to have difficulties in uh, to manage relationships with friends in the church. And also it's important to have somebody that I can talk with my troubles, right? And there's
Right.
in so many churches they have counseling service also, and or the pastor has the ability also to listen the troubles, but sometimes the pastor has not the time or the capacity to
Mm-hmm.
listen all the congregation, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's why you need to reach out for help when it is available in.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I would even take a step further and say that your pastors may not have the education or the skill set to help you through it. And so making others aware of it and going to counseling and getting in touch with all of your resources that's available to you is super important. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. I feel like sometimes, maybe it's just unique to our denomination, Isabel, but I feel like sometimes when we're going through something, we're afraid to share it because if we say we're struggling through something, people may think it's because we're weak Christians or it's because we lack enough faith. When these things are very separate, you can be a person full of faith that's very, that's very sincere and loyal to God and still struggle through mental health. It's very possible. It's not either or.
Yes, that's why the mental health is the balance. And
Mm-hmm.
if we don't have the balance and one is out, so we are going to be struggling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've ever considered this, Isabel, but this is especially difficult, I would feel, on pastors because people look to pastors and to ministers as spiritual guides, and they put them on pedestal. So it's difficult for a pastor who might be dealing with mental health to say, "Hey, I'm struggling through this," because the congregation may somehow then begin to disrespect them or feel like he's not a good enough minister or pastor. And so there's a huge amount of pressure on ministers to try to make their lives look like it's all put together. And if you happen to be one of
Hmm.
those pastors, it's okay to be struggling through mental health. You're still an amazing person following God's calling for your life, but make sure you get connected to a community. Make sure that you're getting the help that you need. How do we bring more positive awareness to this issue, Isabel?
Well, I think knowing the facts and myths about mental health,
Mm-hmm.
talking about mental health more openly, in the same way as we talk about the stomach ache or diabetes, heart disease. So recognize them when we need support without shame. So breaking the misunderstandings about mental health is very important for people that feel in some way low or feel some symptoms that might be thinking that maybe I need to reach out for a professional in mental health. So so when we know the facts and needs and break down all those myths and all those cultural legends
Mm-hmm.
or um, yes, urban legends. We are, we will um, break to prevent people to go and reach out for help.
Mm, mm. Yeah, we've got to break these urban legends, don't we? To get the best of us, and we begin to pass around this kind of idea that's really unhealthy.
Yeah, and conversation like this brings awareness about mental health condition, because mental health conditions are more common that we think. And presenting tools in how to have the balance in mental, spiritual, and physical spheres is very important.
Mm,
So keep talking about these issues and very open, and see that the people that is facing mental health is not alone.
right. What are some common um, what are some common mental health issues that are prevalent in our communities today, Isabel, or maybe in your community?
Yeah, like in my community, I'm in the Latino community. I see a lot of stigma,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because it's like I say, urban legends that, um, like for example, is weak,
Right.
or is trying to attract attention,
Oh
uh,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
or I can recover easily. I just don't think about it, and I'm gonna be fine.
Mm.
So, mhm. So it's like, if I go to the counseling or the with professional like a psychologist, people are going to think that I'm crazy, and maybe
Right. Right.
the government is going to take away my children.
Wow. Wow. Mm. Yeah. So good. So good. We have two children. My wife and I have two children. My wife is an amazing person. She's a superhero. She's really just a bright spot in the world. And it was after our second child, it was quite a few months later. And then she said to me, I think I'm finally coming out of my struggle with postpartum. And Isabel, this was like already a year and a half past my daughter, and I had no idea, right? Um,
Mhm.
no idea that she was struggling through so much. And
Yeah,
it's
and
because
it's
maybe
very.
I'm not paying attention. Maybe we don't pay attention even to the ones closest to us. We're not listening and
Mhm.
watching out.
And we don't know neither.
Nope.
I know friends that is talking now that they might be facing a postpartum depression also,
Hmm.
but they think they know. And also the changes of the cultural values and cultural um, style of life also
Hmm.
changes, because in my culture, for example, we used to have we name it 40 días. This a certain period of time that the mother has to relax, be with the children, and nursing, uh, uh, taking care of the child. And it's a bond between mother and child, and it's a period of time that the mother is recovering the changes about all the hormonal changes
Hmm.
that the women have with the part the with the yes with the partner.
Hmm.
And now the women has to go away right away after having birth. um, they go to work, and they don't wait the time there are no prepare the bodies to to the changes, the hormonal
Yeah.
changes. And so that's why it's increasing the postpartum depression.
Yeah. Trying to stay up with the race of the world has got us giving up some of our own mental health, hasn't it? It's called 40
40 días
días. Okay.
is, yes,
I'm
is
learning Spanish as we go, my girl. I'm with you. I'm going to be fluent by the end of this hour.
yes.
And that's a time in which the mother takes transitional time to be with the child and begin to get used to the transitions in her hormones and acclimate to this new psychological and physiological way of life.
That's correct.
Mm,
Mhm.
mm, wow.
And but
Hey,
now
mothers,
now it's
take your
different.
time.
Yes, but now with the industrialization and our new way of life, uh, we as a mother we have to go right away to work.
Mm, mm.
So we don't spend so much time with with
The
children,
bonding and
the bonding.
yeah, wow. Mm. Well, listen, mothers, we need you to slow down and keep bonding because it's healthy for you and it's healthy for the kids and it's healthy for the husbands. We all need it. So good on you.
Yes,
Okay, ladies
indeed.
and gentlemen, if you're still with us, I am hanging out with Isabel Ramirez and we're talking about all things mental health. We're talking about stigma, especially today. That's what we're focused on. We're going to move into our 3-2-1 hack section. This is a section where we do 3 tips, 2 tips, and 1 tip from our guests on the place or the thing that's in their wheelhouse. So, Isabel, I've got 3-2-1 hacks that I want to cover with you today. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. So, the first one is, can you give us 3 tips on how to fight stigma and win? 3
Well,
practical
three
tips.
tips. The 3 tips. First is not putting labels on person.
All right.
It's long
That's good.
labels like cuckoo, insane, psycho, and you name it. Explore alternatives and calm words. The word has a great impact and reinforces the stigma on mental conditions. This is one. And then number 2 will be teach your children with proper information at their age level and talk about realistic information about mental health and how to take care of themselves and having highest self-esteem.
Ooh,
And what else? Is three tips, ¿verdad?
3 tips. Yep.
Um, not putting labels, teach your children, and do more workshops like this. Attend more workshops like this, or more um, have more education about the mental health problems or the mental health conditions, and see that it's more common that you think that the persons that is facing they can recover if they have the proper attention.
Ooh, very good. Very good. Those are 3 great tips for any of you those out there who's trying to work through and fight against the stigma. Those are 3 things you can do today to begin to win this battle over. We're going to move to 2 tips now. Can you give us 2 tips on how to recognize symptoms of mental health issues in loved ones?
Uh, 2 tips. One will be when is remarkable changes in eating or sleeping patterns. Like for example, if you see your family, your children eating too much, or the teenagers they don't want to eat because they feel like if they eat too much they're gonna uh, uh, be fat,
Mm-hmm.
or sleeping patterns. Like for example, if you see the child or the children are sleeping too much, or your family part of your family is not sleeping at all, that has trouble sleeping at night, that's one sign. Another will be the extreme swing on mood, the lack of
Ah,
energy, um, or the excessive fear in something, or
excessive
also
fear.
even excess of fear also.
Mm.
And also when you see withdrawal from normal activities or hobbies without a reason, this is another big red flag.
Wow,
When
those are
you see
really good.
that your child is not enjoying what used to enjoy, you have to see what is going on in their life, or what is the reason.
Mm-mm. What recent event may have changed in their life to cause them to shift gears like that, right? You
That's
gave
right.
us
Mhm.
a bunch of really good tips here. So if you're watching along, here's some great tips. Watch for a excessive change in your children's eating habits or your loved ones' eating habits. Um, Mood swings, heavy mood swings, a withdrawal from recreational things that they once really loved. And I think there was one other you actually had shared with us, Isabel. So you gave us bonus rounds on these. If you're watching this on the rewind, you can rewind it a little bit and actually hear her say it because it's actually much better. But those are
The
some
extreme,
great tips. Yeah, great tips.
extreme.
Okay, I wanted to ask you. I'm going to ask you another two tips if you don't mind. I know I didn't share this with you, but I'd like to ask you, what are two tips you can give somebody to begin to grow in learning how to speak Spanish better?
um, I don't know. Speaking,
Speaking it more,
have a
just speaking it
conversation
more.
with me.
Yeah,
No,
that's good. That's
just
good.
practice. I think the practice is the key. Like English, English is very hard for me, but sometimes when I don't practice, it's harder to speak it.
You know what? I get embarrassed. I have a little bit of Spanish and I could probably do better if I had just used it. But it's embarrassing. You're like, what if I say it wrong? Or what if people think this when I say it? Or, what if they laugh at me? And so it's hard to bring yourself to actually use it like you should.
Yeah, like the accent sometimes, right?
Yeah, yeah. Do you find that to be true as challenges for you when you were learning English and beginning to use it more often?
Yes, at the beginning we are shy because we are not confident that we are saying it right. Uh, yeah, the practice is the most important part, and if you
Mm.
don't practice your second language, it's easy to forget.
Yeah, it's true. When did you get to the place, Isabel, where you decided, now I can actually just speak English to people? Have you gotten to the place where you feel like I'm very comfortable now speaking in English? You're doing phenomenal, by the way. It's obvious
Uh,
you're fluent.
thank you. But actually, I feel like I'm still learning.
Is that
I
right?
st- I'm still in the way though. I never real fully speaking English, but I'm trying, and I'll be practicing all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's fantastic. It's great. And for those of you who are watching this who speak English and want to do a little bit of Spanish, go for it. Just start using it. Just start practicing because that's the only way you can get better at it. I'm speaking to myself because I need to do that more often. Can you give us one tip on how to find resources on these issues, Isabel? If somebody out here is like, "Hey man, I really want to get more informed. I want to become aware." What is one tip they can do?
Well, the easiest way of finding resources about mental health is calling the 211. If I make a phone
211.
call the 211 for easy way to remind, uh, you will find the information about resources in Los Angeles County. And depending on the case, the caller will receive the information about the resources needed, the clinics, the support groups, you name it. Yeah, all the resources, even um, where to find places where is distributing food.
Mm. 211.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot
211.
of there's a lot of smart people in this world that know much better than I do. But I didn't know that at all. Like that is brand new information to me that you can call 211 and find resources. I have just been empowered by this. Wow.
It's very simple, and it's very easy to remind.
Oh
211.
man. Can you share that in Spanish as well?
Sí, todo el mundo puede consultar al 211 cualquier recurso que necesite, ya sea de casa, de alimentos o de recursos acerca de salud mental. Pueden hablar al 211. Las llamadas son confidenciales y ahí podrán recibir toda la ayuda necesaria que necesiten acerca de los recursos y lugares a donde pueden acudir.
Thank you, Isabel. Jillian knows about 211. Jill, thank you so much for sharing. I didn't know this, Jillian, but you should have told me earlier in life. I would have been putting this out in the world. I'm going to put this out in the world now, Isabel, because now I know it. I had no idea about this number, and I've lived here in California all my life. My mind is a little bit blown. I'm very, very impressed by that sharing. Thank you so much. Okay, back to stigmas. Let's talk about stigmas. Let's get real in here. What is the price of not dealing with a stigma, Isabel? What is the price someone is going to pay if they don't deal with the stigmas, or as a community that we will pay?
Yeah, the condition could worsen and the recovery is going to be harder. The patient could harm themselves and even want to ease their pain taking their life. Yes, it could even have consequences like suicide. That's why it's very important to take care in time.
Ooh, wow, absolutely. Absolutely. We've got to be vigilant about this. And especially as people of faith, we've got to listen and be empathetic and figure out a way to change it, because this is literally going to cost someone's life if we are not in tune with what's happening around us. Very true. Okay. What, if anything, have we missed that we need to cover as a people when we talk about mental health, when we talk about the stigmas that come along with it? What are we missing in this story?
Maybe we're missing that we need to advocate for services and resources for people in need of mental health. And we also need to be more patient and have the empathy with family and friends in distress. Instead of giving a false or vague hope when we are listening them, listen with empathy without judging and value their feelings. And honoring our feelings also. Have the chance to share our emotions with somebody close to us. And have the courage to go and reach out for help if we need it.
That really is a courageous thing. Mm-hmm.
Yes, just as we go to the doctor when we have a stomach ache and we we reach out for help for the stomach ache, and we ask the primary doctor to have our I forgot the referral to go with a gastroenterologist. So that's the same way we can ask for referral for mental health professionals. So and the advocacy is very important for open more opportunities to have the people the opportunity to reach out for help.
Yes, true. We've got to be advocates. My friends, if you're watching this now and you're watching this later, we just want to emphasize this or re-emphasize it, that we've got to advocate. We've got to be allies. We've got to look out for our fellow brothers and sisters who are struggling through mental health. And when they speak about this thing, it takes for someone to begin to talk about it means they've had the courage to fight their own inclinations of keeping it in. They've had to fight through their own ghosts and their own challenges and their own demons just to be able to share this thing. And so we've got to be able to hold their hand through it. We've got to be able to come alongside them. We've got to be able to dig deep into our empathy. And we've got to make it a safe space in our churches. Pastors, if you're listening, you got to create a culture of safety in your churches for people to share and to speak about this, because there are many, 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 including pastors and friends of mine that I know who are struggling with this. And it's okay. It's a part of life. We're going to do it and we can do it together, but we need to work together in order to do this thing. You would go to the doctor because you broke your arm. So make sure you go to a doctor when you're going through this kind of stuff. Don't just keep it in. Don't just think you can pray it away. Prayer is powerful and it's good, but God has also put people into this world, servants of his, that will help us through these things. So get out there and let's do it together. How has the pandemic and all the social unrest around us made mental health and all of its stigma worse? How has it added to it? How has it exacerbated the issue that we have?
I guess the infodemia has confused many people, and many information are wrong, and is targeting selling fear and stress. And when people has stress, lower down the immune system. So so I guess the impact of the information has been a negative impact in people's um, way of try to reach out for the right resources or the right care of themselves. And and I've seen so many conspiracy theories and WhatsApp messages that only contradicts and making more harm in our health and emotions.
Mm.
So don't follow the information that is no, but that we don't know the resources.
Right, right. If you don't know where this information is coming from, make sure that you get good, reliable information that you can lean on. Isabel, is there anything that's been positive that has come from the pandemic? Is there, as far as mental health is concerned, or at least in the mental health community or stigma, has anything positive come from it?
Anything positive? That we are creating more awareness, doing this kind of conversations, and people are more aware about their feelings, and if they don't feel right, um, it's 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 time for reach out for help, and and of course, learning more about mental health, we will take more care of our well-being, and
Yeah.
and also the well-being of our loved ones without the judgment. And we will be able to recognize when they need to change um, our behaviors, or or when we need to reach out for professional help.
Hmm.
So opening conversation like this is a really good example of how can we bring more awareness, and this is a positive thing that we are more open to listen this type of conversations, I guess.
That's true. Yeah, yeah, you're right. There has been positive things, and being able to use these kind of platforms too, huh? I mean, before you'd have to go to a place and you talk to a local person or a group of people, but being able to get this stuff online and out into the web gives more listeners. It gives more accessibility to it. So that is true. Wow, Isabel, you made me feel a little bit more hopeful about us going through this pandemic. Thank you very much. That's very nice. So, if you are just joining us, I am hanging out with Isabel Ramirez. She is the promotora. I'm going to say it right. Promotora.
Promotora.
Promotora, the promotora. She was motivated to start the Pasadena en Español. She is the promoter for the LA County Department of Mental Health. We are talking about all things mental health, and today we focused in on stigmas. We wanted to talk about how we can break stigmas, what continues to bind us in a community to these particular stigmas, the damages that it has, and more. We've talked about her life, and we've talked about the journey and challenges that are around us, even within these pandemic times. We're coming close to our ending time here, but if you have somebody who's been struggling through some of this, and you need more information or need resources, I just learned today you could call 211. That's 211. And get more resources as well. If you happen to be leading out in your community and you want to hold conversations about this, you want to talk about this and bring more awareness, one, you could use this video, feel free to use it as your resource and of content to share with them to create conversation, or you could reach out to the LA County Department of Mental Health, and they will be able to help your faith community walk through these things. Isabel is a great example of that. She's been spending her hour with us here, helping to tell story, answer questions, talk about all of this stuff together. So, Isabel, we're getting close to the end of our time. Hey, Doug, good to see you on here, man. But I wanted to ask you, would you play Love One, Leave One with me today? It's a game that we play on here every week, and so I want to bring you in here. Is that all right?
Okay.
Is your soul prepared for this game? All right, here it is. You're gonna give it a shot, huh? Okay, so here's how the game works, Isabel. We put about a minute and a half up on the clock, and then I ask you questions. I'll give you two options, and you have to pick which one you love and which one you'll leave. The one that you love, we all get to enjoy and get to do more of here in our life. The one that you do not love will disappear for eternity. No one ever again in the whole existence of the world will ever be able to use that thing. Which means, Isabel, if you choose incorrectly, it's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. No pressure. All right, we ready? Okay, my friends, feel free to play along with us. You know what, Jillian? It's good to see you back on here, my sister. You made it just in time for one of the things that you like the most. Jillian loves this part, and she always plays along. So all of you are welcome to play along with us. Feel free to type in your answers and comments. I'll drop it onto the screen so Isabel can see and laugh at it. And we're going to get going here. But first, I've got to make sure that your screen is lined up here, Isabel. So let me fix that so you're not alone here. I'm coming on with you. There I am. All right. All right. Okay. Here we go, my friends. In 3, 2, 1. Isabel, would you rather do public speaking in front of thousands of people or one-on-one trainings in a smaller setting?
I think one-on-one in a small settings.
Yes, okay, because some people are one-on-one kind of people, and some people are like, I want to speak to everybody. Good. Okay, Isabel, Toyota or Honda?
Toyota.
Oh, Toyota. Okay, good. I drive a Toyota. Travel the world or local adventures, Isabel?
Travel the world.
All right, travel the world. Thai food or Italian?
Thai food.
Thai food, huh? All right. Sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Sweet. Okay. Apple or Android?
Apple.
Okay. Country living or a city slicker, Isabel?
City slicker.
City slicker. All right. Business casual or beach ready clothes?
Business casual.
All right, very good. You did it, Isabel. Fantastic work. You didn't win anything, but I like to blow that horn every time we finish. So great playing.
Italian just for survival.
And you all did wonderful. Thank you for playing along with us, guys. Thank you so much. So you said Italian food, is that right? Or did you say Thai food?
No, it's a Thai food.
Thai food. Do you actually eat that quite often at all?
Oh yeah, it's the soup with the coconuts and
that's my
mental leaves
favorite.
are
Tom
so
Kha.
good.
Oh, que bueno. Is that how you say it? Is that right? Is that worth it?
Qué
No.
bueno, qué
Que
rico.
bueno, que bueno. Oh man, it's so good. Yeah, that's my favorite too, sister. We're gonna when COVID passes, we're gonna have to get together and have us some of that Tom Kha soup together. Yes,
Oh, that
man.
will be fantastic.
Yeah. Very good. We're rounding out our time together. I am with Isabel Ramirez. She's been taking us through mental health and talking about the stigmas. As we're closing out our last few minutes, I've just got a few more questions for her, and then we're signing out for this week. Next week, we're going to continue on into mental health. We're going to keep talking about this. I'm going to keep pushing it at you, everybody, because in May, May 16th to the 23rd, we're going to have a week of prayer. We've got about 24 churches in collaboration. We're doing a week of prayer themed Thrive, and it's all about mental health. We've got Pastor Myron Edmonds, who's going to be with us. He's going to do all of our talkings, speaking, preaching, and we're going to have the LA County Department of Mental Health doing all of our workshops. We're going to have a Zoom room, especially just for teenagers, and we want you to be there. So make sure you connect your peoples with us so we can do this together. Isabel, as we're closing out on our time together, I want to talk about hope. What does hope look like here as we talk about stigma?
The hope is that if we learn how to take care of each other, we will grow in a better community, and with a better community will grow our children in a better environment, and all goes together.
Amen. Amen to that. We can get through this together, can't we? Fantastic. Okay, let me ask you this as one of our final questions, Isabel, and feel free to say it in English and then come at it in Spanish, because I need everybody who's watching along or who will be watching this later to hear these words. Would you share something encouraging to that person who might be watching along, who is struggling through it right now? Maybe it's someone who's had mental health issues their whole life and are scared to share it. Maybe it's that mother who knows about it but doesn't know how to speak to or talk to with their child. But someone might be watching along right now. Maybe a professional, maybe a student, maybe a child or a parent, or someone will be watching this who's going through something. Can you share some encouraging words with them today?
Yeah, that you are not alone, and you don't have to struggle alone. There are support groups, counseling services. You just need to call 211 or the mental health department phone number, who is 1-800-854-7771. If you need more information about the resources that are available. And remember, the calls are totally confidential, so you don't have to keep struggling alone. There's help, and there's places where you can reach out for that kind of help.
Yeah,
Now in
I want to.
España.
Yes, go for it, Isabel.
Sí, solo quiero decirle a las personas que quizá estén pasando alguna dificultad en conseguir ayuda para su salud mental, que no están solos, que no tienen por qué estar sufriendo solos. Siempre hay un lugar donde puedan acudir, y es el teléfono del 211 o el del Departamento de Salud Mental, en donde ustedes pueden obtener información acerca de los recursos que hay en la comunidad. La información que ustedes brinden siempre es confidencial.
Thank you for that, Isabel. I want to piggyback on what she had just shared and let you know, if you're struggling through something, you are not alone, that you are very valuable to the world and to your community, that we care. And as a representative of the Southern California Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, I want to reach out to you and let you know that this church is still very proud of you, that we're not ashamed of you, that we will not put you down for struggling through mental health, but that we want to come alongside you and be an ally. As long as I represent and those here in this regional office represent our conference, we will work to do our best to make sure that you have safe places where you can share. God bless you all. We know it's a difficult task as you walk ahead, but know that you are not alone. That is the truth from Isabel's lips to all of our hearts. You are not alone. Isabel, thank you so much for sharing our time this week together. You've been phenomenal. All of our blessings to you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share this important issue in this space.
We'll get back around to talking about it some more, won't we?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
of course,
It's
anytime.
awesome. To all of you out there, thank you so much for joining with us and hanging out and catching up. Until next week when we talk more about mental health, I want you to stay safe, stay good, and know that you are not alone. God bless you, everybody. Have a blessed week.